Monster Hunter is the only franchise I know where most people's favorite character is the thing they like to kill most. Who's your favorite monster? Oh yeah, it's this guy. My favorite part is when I get to skin it, and the skin somehow turns into a perfect dress that gives me more defense than tank armor in real life. Monster Hunter is very much like Minecraft in that the gameplay is pretty much in the name. You know, mine, craft, monster, hunter. That's it. That's the gameplay. You want monsters. Video over. Monster Hunter is a game where you hunt monsters and craft gear from their skin. This does in fact sound horrible, but usually every game has some kind of story reason as to why you do this. In World, you basically have to avert this monster because it's literally a walking nuke, and if you let it go to the place it's going, it will blow up the continent and delete an entire ecosystem, and presumably anyone living on it. How in the world the entire planet doesn't just implode on itself is beyond me, but that's beside the point. So, our adventure in Rise begins with Monster Hunter isn't really known for its story, and this one isn't really any different. You live in a Japanese-esque village, and something called the Rampage happens every once in a while where monsters attack and the bad stuff happens. While the game does have some interesting designs, the characters don't get much dialogue, and most of it is surface level at best. But hey, at least they get names this time instead of the smithing guy, 2. Next, we move on to the gameplay, and this is where Monster Hunter flexes its muscles. This is a formula Capcom has been perfecting for over a decade, and it absolutely shows. If you've played World and are wondering if Rise is different, I can assure you Rise is very different, and in many ways an improvement over it. The introduction of Palamutes really helped solve an issue World had, which was the fact that you had huge worlds, but it took forever to get around them. But if that isn't enough, they said, fuck it, if Lucina and Spider-Man can work, so can Monster Hunter and Spider-Man. So you just get to swing around on some bug web like nobody's business. But wire bugs do much, much more than just add extra mobility. They also add new abilities to your weapons. For example, the original Greatsword combo is to basically do 3 hits, and the final one is chargeable and does the most damage. However, now, there is another. By using the switch skill Rage Slash, you become a steroid-pumped masochist as you gain hyper armor while charging, and getting hit actually makes it do more damage. On top of that, it's significantly quicker than the traditional 3-hit combo move. The interesting thing about these abilities is that they completely change your playstyle, like a complete shift in the way you play the weapon. It may as well be an entirely different weapon. So now, not only do you have 14 incredibly unique and interesting weapons, but each weapon has its own sub-playstyle with different switch skills. Like yeah, you main Greatsword, but are you a masochist Greatsword, or the tactical nuke kind of Greatsword? I don't know. Imagine being a monster and either you get a weird motherfucker who laughs like an anime villain when they get hit, or fighting a hunter who doesn't hit you much, but when they do, boy does it fucking hurt. And finally, the wire bug takes the whole mounting thing from World to the next level. Now you get to puppet that shit like you're a gas company bribing a government official. When you mount a monster, you get a light and heavy attack, and if you do enough damage, a finisher. The downside to this system is that it feels a bit scripted. In World, when you attacked a monster with a jump attack, you did mount damage that got you closer to being able to mount it. Here, it seems to only happen when 2 monsters attack each other, which seems forced to happen at least once per hunt. Still, the added control while mounting is a nice touch and a fun new addition. Besides wire bugs, Capcom has streamlined the gathering process from previous titles. If you've never played a Monster Hunter before, essentially there's a gameplay mechanic that requires you to go about the world, gathering herbs and things to craft the items you'll need on your hunts. In the past, this used to be a tedious and repetitive process. Ever since the release of World, Capcom woke the fuck up and realized maybe disguising your dope-ass monster fighting game behind the collect 10 herbs quests wasn't a good idea. Many things have changed, like ore veins no longer require you to mine them multiple times. You mine them once and you get all the resources. Also, you can get most of your items from the Argosy, which is a ship that sends out cats in submarines to gather a maximum of 3 different types of items. Oh yeah, I just glossed over that, didn't I? Yeah, there are cats in submarines. If that doesn't immediately sell you, I don't know what will. But it feels like with all this cool shit Capcom added, it feels like they were like, this is too fucking epic. Like, somebody's gonna die from all this epic, so we gotta make something boring to balance it out. And that's how Rampages were born. To be fair, these are a part of the story if you're paying attention to it, but I really wasn't. The Rampages are basically a tower defense game mode where you build turrets and fight off monsters, and therein lies the problem. I'm here to play a game where you fight the monster, not play Bloons tower defense, but instead of balloons, it's a Rathalos shooting a fireball at you while you're on a turret. The whole issue with this game mode is that it isn't really the core gameplay people are looking for in a Monster Hunter game. Sure, you do eventually get to fight a monster at the end, like normal, but that's only after a somewhat repetitive tower defense gameplay. It also feels too easy, like you basically sit on a gun and shoot. If they try to hit you, you press guard. They get to the gate, okay, maybe get off and smack them around a bit, but usually, with how many turrets there are, they're already half dead. And it's not like the tower defense part is hard either. I'm pretty sure I've never failed a rampage. Fortunately, you only have to do it after a few times, so it's not a big deal. Alright, now we're moving on to the real gameplay. The fucking man's game. I'm talking fashion. Boys play Monster Hunter to kill monsters. Men play Monster Hunter to get the dopest fit available. This game has armor, and lots of it. It also has a cosmetic system, which is also pretty dope. That's it. That's part of the video. I made a whole heading for this. The armor is cool, it looks cool, I like looking cool. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk, next part. And that's it. That's all I really have to say about this game. It's just good. This is probably one of, if not the most accessible Monster Hunter games to get into, with how streamlined the gameplay is. And the addition of layered armor is something I imagine a lot of people can get into. I don't usually do numbered scores for my reviews, but screw it, this game gets a 9 out of 10. It improves on the elements of world while also bringing new things to the table to keep things fresh. On top of that, it runs like a dream on PC and Switch and is easily one of the best looking Switch games out there. If you liked World or are looking to get into Monster Hunter for the first time, this is it. Anyway, that's gonna be the end of the video. Peace.